Thank you, Vanita. After these scintillating performances, let's move on to our next segment. A leader. A leader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. He's creative, confident, committed, and a courageous change maker. Performance with purpose and passion in every pursuit is what truly defines him. A visionary and exemplary astute leader. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to invite the President of South Indian Education Society, Dr. V. Shankar, to share his thoughts for this annual gathering 2020.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this pleasant function organized this evening, being the annual meet of all the stakeholders of SIES. In this world of human affairs, despite its complexities and certainties, there are a few definitives. They add to the spice and the color of life, like the rising sun that comes and sets every day, the waxing and the waning of the moon, of the seasons that follow one behind another. If winter were to come, can spring be far behind? If the new year were to dawn, the annual SIS meet is just around. Over these years, this has become part of the annual calendar of events of the society and has graduated from far beyond a ritualistic affair of just meeting of minds. It has gone beyond meeting and eating to meeting of minds, of exchanging thought processes in either direction, of taking stock of what happened during the year that is about to slip by, to activate the drawing board in respect of the action plan for the year that is ahead and the realization of the short-term goals of the institution during the defined period. It's time also for remembering with reverential gratitude all those who have served the cause of education in this institution with distinction, and then the time comes for the legal separation through the process of superannuation. It's equally time to pay tributes to all those teaching and non-teaching staff who have spent a quarter of a century of their prime time life in this institution and still are going strong. It's time to acknowledge the contribution of teachers who have replenished their arsenal with doctoral degrees, of the non-teaching staff who have added superior qualifications to enable them to discharge their duties with greater responsibility and perfection, and of those extraordinary achievements of people, both teaching, non-teaching, and the students alike, who have brought lust and shine to this vibrant institution. It has moved far from being an event of revelry, fun and celebration to one of purpose and acknowledgement with an expression of gratitude of thanks. Vision 2025 is the guiding document that sets the agenda for action plan of this institution during the defined period of 2018 to 2025. The year that is about to slip by has been one of the greatest years as far as realization of the infrastructural goals that have been defined in this Mission 2025. The society has successfully acquired the two industrial plots of land, D125 and D388 at MIDC, TTC industrial area, across the road. And we have also successfully converted these industrial lands into residential and educational use, and they are now ripe and ready for development. In the plot of land which is behind the London Pilsner on the other side of this road, just away from here, a new college of Art, Science and Commerce is taking shape. As this college gets developed, the present SIES Nerul College of Art, Science and Commerce will relocate to that premise. In D388, a state-of-art research center is coming up, and that would house the SIES School of Packaging, the SIES Indian Institute of Environment Management, and the SIES Institute of Chromatography and Spectroscopy. A floor is being added to each of the institutions in this Nerul campus to augment the space requirements for the academic expansion plans of each of those institutions. In the Kamakshi Nilayam, which is just behind me, Additional construction is being done to accommodate the inmates of the seniors' home and also the students of the Veda Vidya Pita. And then once they move, this building that is on the side will be raised to the ground and a superstructure will evolve in this ground which will accommodate the SIES School of Pharmaceutical Technology, the SIES School of Nursing, the SIES School of Physiotherapy, the SIES School of Law, and the SIES Institute of Foreign Languages. So the infrastructural goals that we had set for ourselves during this period will be substantially achieved because most of the approvals are in place, and this will be an year of hectic construction and activity. We have been extremely successful in concluding the Memorandum of Understanding with the Osaka City University, which is a state university in Japan for geospatial technologies and emerging sciences in biomedical engineering and construction technologies. As a first step towards launching the SIES Osaka School of Emerging Sciences, we have started in the SIES Graduate School of Technology a program for exposure to the foreign language of Japanese. There has been an overwhelming response from the students and the teachers to learning Japanese so that they can prepare themselves for this collaboration, and that will take shape soon in a month or so when this program will start. As another step towards ensuring that this collaboration brings the results that have been envisaged in the MOU, the SIES Graduate School of Technology will be offering 4 new degree programs during the current year subject to approvals. And these programs are artificial intelligence and machine learning, it is Internet of Things, big data science, and also electronics and information computer science, and further additions and expansion to the computer engineering program in student strength is being envisaged. It is a packed year as far as the SIES Graduate School of Technology is concerned, as it takes the center stage of the Nerul campus when it becomes a technology park and other institutions move slowly away from this campus. The academic activities that we have planned during the year ahead are equally intense, packed for the entire year that is before us. They are a process of consolidating our quality efforts so that we ensure that the delivery systems of education are compatible with the needs of time and the expectations of the student community. The SIES College of Management Studies and the SIES Graduate School of Technology, which added to the disappointment and the slippage in Mission 2025 when they missed the A ranking of NAC by a frisker, have decided to go in for NBA accreditation during the year. Since the statutory period of 1 year has elapsed from the original accreditation of NAC, both the institutions will also go for a review of NAC, first cycle review for both of them during this year. The SIES School of Packaging Star Awards have been acknowledged globally now by the World Packaging Council. So all the awardees in SIES SOP Star Awards will now have value credits for them in the international competition for design, research and innovation of the World Packaging Council. For the first time in the history of this institution, long history of 88 years, for the first time we will be hosting a global conference of IPRI, International Association for Packaging Research Institutions, in the year 2021 under the aegis of the SIES School of Packaging. The SIES College of Commerce and Economics had applied for autonomous status, and the statutory expert inspection was carried out on 14th and 15th of February this month. And as they are awaiting the outcome of the experts committee's inspection, they are also getting themselves for the fourth cycle review of NAC, which will be done during the year. The SIES Nerul College of Art, Science and Commerce, as its mind shifts from this premises to the new premises, still will be working in this premises and subjecting itself to the next cycle review assessment of NAC during this year. The SIES College of Art, Science and Commerce, Autonomous, consolidated all its efforts in the second year since receiving autonomy and is on the threshold of offering several undergraduate degree programs and certification programs during the year that is about to come by. The SIES High School and the SIES Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Memorial High School will be subjecting themselves during this year to International Best School accreditation by the British Council and shall also thereafter go for accreditation from NABAT, National Accreditation Board for Education and Training of the Quality Council of India. You will thus appreciate that the year ahead is not just of constructing brick, mortar and clay, but also of adding strength to the institution through the process of quality and accreditation that shall be in full steam during this year. If these are the things to be done, it is equally necessary that we know what are the challenges ahead. Singularly, there are plenty of challenges. In a growing economy, the challenges are plenty. But in an economy where the GDP is shrinking, jobs are vanishing, and where manufacturing activity is at its nadir, at the lowest, and the expectation of revival through sentiment in the economy is very low, it is but natural that every sector of the economy will suffer, and there will be no exception to the general rule of the economy itself being on the downslide. Be that aside, as far as the education landscape is concerned, that would interest the teachers and the students is the 7th Pay Commission. The 7th Pay Commission has been introduced by the government of Maharashtra for its aided institutions in the last 2 months. The 7th Pay envisages merger of basic and DA into a single basic, an HRA which is 30% of the enlarged basic, a small component of DA which is based on inflation, currently obtaining without indexation, and a few allowances, and a generous bout of terminal benefits of Provident Fund, superannuation and gratuity coming from the enlarged basic. We did a pilot study to find out what will be the consequences of implementing the 7th Pay in the self-financing institution of ours, and we took the SIES College of Arts, Science and Commerce Autonomous. In this college, which is a predominantly aided college because both the undergraduate programs and the higher secondary are aided by the government of Maharashtra, and the self-financing programs are only at the graduate level. They account for less than 40% of the total academic portfolio of this institution. We decided to tweak the Pay Commission recommendation by consolidating both the merger of basic and DA, bringing in HRA in its full 30%, with no DA being given and no more allowances to be taken, but all the terminal benefits shall be at their full, like what is given to the aided institution. It worked out to 9.25 lakhs per month for the staff covered by the self-financing program. If you take into account the terminal benefits, the cost of the terminal benefits, it comes to 1.3 crores per year. If this money has to be neutralized through increase in fees, then we have to double the fees in all the programs that are offered under these self-finance programs. The level of fees as it's obtaining today, as far as these programs, is indeed very high. That is why the SIES seat has been making large allocations out of the available interest income for the 3 institutions at the undergraduate level, mainly for the self-financing programs at the undergraduate level. And if ever we were to imagine that we will double the fees, you can be rest assured that the cancer that is set into the engineering institutions with extremely low enrollment, with the result that the government has decided not to have any more engineering colleges, will soon sink into undergraduate programs in the self-financing category all across the country. But at the same time, we have to meet the expectations, the growing expectations of the teaching and the non-teaching community. The rising inflation, which takes a toll on their living standards, one has to strike a golden mean and between the affordability, providing for equity and access to the student community. It will be death knell for a democracy if we are to shunt out students on grounds of affordability in higher education. And equally so if we were to have a teaching staff and a non-teaching staff who are not compensated enough to have a decent living. In striking a golden mean between the two, that is the biggest ever challenge educational institutions shall face in Maharashtra at least during the coming year, and SIES shall be no exception. As we map the macro scene, it is no different from what we have seen at the institution level. When you look at the CAG's final audit report for the year 2017-18, which has been on the public domain, the expenditure on education by the Government of India during that year was 80,215 crores, which constituted 9.7% of the total revenue expenditure of the Government of India during that year. When this government took office, that percentage was 10.9%. So over these years, the percentage allocation to education, even though in absolute terms it might have gone up in percentage terms, has dramatically come down over the last 5 years. As a consequence, the percentage of education expenditure to GDP has fallen below 3%. The threshold limit, the benchmark for developing economies, including developed economies, is 6% of GDP. Countries in the neighborhood smaller than India have already reached the level of 6% of GDP as far as education is concerned, whereas India is languishing halfway mark below 3% and a long, long way to go. When there is a crying need for educational institutions, for funds, for better infrastructure, for hiring manpower who are competent to deliver the new programs which are on card with them, to meet the expectations of the students, to buy technology, digital space and software which is required to run the programs. These are precisely the reasons why Government of India brought in an education cess to income tax. And this education cess, as at 31st of March 2019, the accumulated credit was 94,036 crores, and not a single rupee was spent by the Government of India on any of these that I have outlined, which were the reasons for which the education cess is being levied. This is indeed a pathetic scene. Despite these dark clouds which are hovering over the horizon of education, the silver lining is the National Education Policy. This policy was drafted by an experts committee under the chairmanship of our own student, Padma Vibhushan Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan. It has brought about a dramatic overall change in the education in this country, both at the school level and at the higher learning level. It has recommended 20% of the total revenue expenditure of the Government of India as the minimum expenditure outlay for education. And now the policy is subject to discussion by all the stakeholders. We can only pray that in the name of consultations, the final policy, when it gets the seal of the Parliament of India, does not whittle down all these recommendations, which are the only silver lining in the dark clouds that are before us. The past of this institution has indeed been very bright. It has been exciting. It has been years of purpose. 88 years in the cause of education. We have contributed significantly to this cause in this megapolis and extended Navi Mumbai area and even beyond. The future is equally bright. In 12 years from now, we shall be celebrating the centenary of our existence. If only we can gird up our loins and shirk the inertia that envelops us momentarily when there are slippages, and redouble our efforts and energize ourselves in these 12 years, we can achieve far more than what we would have achieved in those 88 years. And then when we celebrate the centenary in the year 2032, it shall not be a celebration based on efflux of time, which is a certainty for every institution, even animals, donkeys will come to age. But it will be a century of bliss and a century of purpose. For that, we need to work in a cooperative spirit. We need to work as a team. Don't walk ahead of me, I shall not follow. Don't walk behind me, I shall not lead. Walk besides me, hand in hand. Together we shall make the difference. What lies ahead of us and what lies behind us is nothing compared to what lies within us. We have to harness this potential, this innate potential that is residing in each one of us, bring it to fore as we surge ahead with confidence in the years ahead. I started in this world of human affairs. The only goal of life is to achieve the purpose of life. And to achieve that purpose of life, we need to have control, superintends over three elements of life, namely anger, good times, and bad times. I just saw my alma mater, the first alma mater of mine, because I have many alma maters over here, present to you the mobile age and the telephoning. I only wish if we have a press button and it becomes a back button, a mute button as far as anger is concerned, a pause button as far as good times are concerned, and a fast forward button as far as those hard times are concerned. And if we can move the mouse and navigate the keyboard in the direction of achieving control over these three elements, then the distant goalpost will also remain very close to us, and we should be able to realize all the goals of our institution. And then this voyage of time, this passage of ours in this journey of ours will be a pilgrimage of perfection. Thank you and God bless.